the idea of extraterrestrials fighting among themselves does not surprise me, because that's what we do, and I don't think there's an idea. The idea of them concerned about us leaving this planet and going somewhere to start anew is ludicrous, in my opinion, because if those entities, extraterrestrials, whatever we want to call them, are that smart to be able to get here with the kind of technology they have, they're obviously not going to allow us to go anywhere. We've already proven what we can do. We mess up and destroy everything we touch, and then we kill each other. So I am sure that they are looking at our Earth and saying that these creatures are doing what they're doing to their own planet. They're not going anywhere. We're going to keep them right here and let them kill each other, but not coming out here where we are. So I don't think they're going to allow us to go anywhere. I doubt that we could even exist or survive anywhere else than the Earth anyway, because I think we probably are designed for this particular planet. But the idea that there's a war going on among the extraterrestrials kind of fits with what the secret societies talked about, as above, so below.
I just came back from a meeting in Canada and from the University of Toronto, and without mentioning any names so I don't lose my head before I leave this room, I found out that the research on the space shuttle, the Columbia, was not lost because of a piece of loose tile. It was lost because of metal weakening due to electromagnetic changes in the structure of the metal. And this could only have been done in one way, and that was that the entity had to have been hit by some kind of electromagnetic beam weapon. And just sitting here tonight and listening, I didn't know anything about anybody seeing any blue corkscrew light. So
but that was a photograph, and it was described in the San Francisco Chronicle. No one actually saw the photograph. They never released it publicly, but NASA took it into its possession, and that was the description in the article, the corkscrewing wave.
Well, it was kind of a coincidence to hear that, since I have just returned from Canada.
The last communications with Columbia at 8 a.m. Central Time as it was descending toward Florida for its landing. At that time, about 207,000 feet above central Texas, traveling approximately 12,500 miles per hour, 1,192 miles from its touchdown at Kennedy Space Center.
In 2003, the day that the Columbia Space Shuttle went down, I was at an investment banking conference in Dallas, Texas. I was staying at the Omni Hotel. I was in a conference room, or the ballroom where we were having the conference, and somebody came down and said that the Columbia had gone down. I'm having a problem keeping the shuttle disaster straight, but that the Columbia had gone down and was breaking up over Texas. And this was of huge interest to me, and I immediately left the conference, went to my room on the 20th floor. I had a pair of Zeiss binoculars with me, and I began looking in the direction that the trajectory of the Columbia coming down and possibly breaking up. I was looking for debris to see if I could see anything. As the Zeiss binoculars are, excellent apparatus, and as I was looking up in the upper atmosphere, I saw two UFOs, and they were disc-shaped structure on the top, and I believe a structure on the bottom as well, and disc-shaped. They were two different colors. One was a maroon and the other gold, and they were at slightly different altitudes, and they were extremely high, perhaps 50 to 100,000 feet. I can't really say because out over the Texas prairie, but I did see them for quite some time. They were both stationary, and I gave the binoculars and pointed the direction. My attorney was with me, and he saw them as well. And I eventually lost them because they were hard to keep track of. You really had to, focus on the spot entirely. But they remained stationary for 10 minutes that I got a chance to see them.
In the San Francisco Chronicle, there was a very mysterious article that an amateur astronomer had taken photographs, digital photographs, 5 photographs, that show a purple corkscrewing wave actually striking the shuttle. No one was ever allowed to see the photographs. Later, we find that astronaut Tammy Jernigan went to meet the astronomer in San Francisco. The photographs were taken in San Francisco at 5:53 a.m. It was dark. The photographer, Peter Goldie, was using a tripod, a Nikon 800 camera, and his name was kept out of the press. But somebody got one of his photographs on the internet, and he reveals his identity when he asked this person to remove the photographs from the internet or he would sue them. So these photographs it's illegal for me to actually show you them, but I have all 5 of the photographs. But what I'm allowed to do is show you an artistic rendering of each one of the photographs, because what we're going to find out here is the space shuttle was actually shot down by some kind of an advanced plasma weapon. It's very clear. But what the San Francisco Chronicle tells us on a later date is that after they analyze the photographs, Tammy Jernigan analyzes the photographs, they send the camera to Houston, and they analyze the photographs there. They're telling us that some super lightning strike struck the shuttle. Now this is what happens with real lightning strikes. A video camera shoots 30 frames per second, or takes 30 video pictures per second. And on top of that, you have shutter speed. You can have 1/100th of a second on that 1 out of 30 frames, or 1/1000th of a second, or 1/2000th of a second. So it's taking pictures. And it doesn't take more than 30 frames a second. And that tells us a lot about lightning, because these actual lightning strikes in Taos, New Mexico, actually show how fast lightning actually pulses. And we can see, as I move this little clicker here, right here, I'm moving 1 frame. That's 1/30th of the entire second of 30 frames per second. So in 1 frame, we can see a lightning strike. Can you zoom in on that strike? And then, when I go to the second frame, the lightning strike is there. So 2/30ths of a second, we still have the lightning strike. And on the 3rd frame, it doesn't exist. Now, the impossibility of NASA's statement that this is a super lightning strike is ludicrous in this case. We're looking at 5 different exposures of 4 to 6 seconds each. And then you have to look at the time lapse where Peter Goldie had to actually press the shutter button again and again and again, each 5 times. So NASA is saying that the same lightning strike from beginning to end could appear for over 30 seconds. There is no such thing as a 30-second lightning strike. We are not looking at a lightning strike here. The reason I have to do these drawings is because legally I'm not allowed to use Dr. Peter Goldie's photographs, because he doesn't believe the American people deserve to see the truth about what happened to the Shuttle Columbia on February 1st, 2003. What is the logic of a lightning strike striking the shuttle when the shuttle's coming in? It's coming in at 207,135 feet above the Earth, so it's miles above the Earth. It's doing Mach 18.3, which is 12.5 or so thousand miles an hour. And what you see in photograph number 1 is really quite stunning. You see this purple corkscrewing wave coming down from above, and it seems to be aiming right towards the space shuttle. When it crosses the space shuttle's path, the shuttle is now advanced because it's doing 12,500 miles an hour. And then it course corrects and turns and chases after the shuttle. That's photograph number 1. But in photograph number 2, this supposed lightning strike, and these are 4 to 6 second exposures on a tripod, the supposed lightning strike is still there. And then it's advancing on the shuttle. It's actually corkscrewing and chasing after the space shuttle. So whatever this thing is, it's not a lightning strike, because it's not pulsing, at an incredible, almost instantaneous speed, near the speed of light. And second, it's going a little bit faster than the shuttle, and it's chasing on it. It's trying to catch up to it. And in his 3rd photograph, you can actually see this thing striking the shuttle, and there's this burst of light, and everything is getting brighter. And once it strikes the shuttle in the 3rd photograph, it doesn't fray out in any other direction. So there's no way we're looking at a lightning strike, and here's why. The lightning strike is there. So 2/30ths of a second, we still have the lightning strike. And on the 3rd frame, it doesn't exist. So for 2/30ths of a second, which is 1/15th of a second, the lightning strike no longer exists. It's impossible. It's not there anymore. Now, if we look at, there's another lightning strike in the same shot. This is frame number 1, frame number 2, and frame number 3. And that strike is 3/30ths of a second. So, which is actually 1/10 of a second. So the longest strike that I have in this shot is 1/10 of a second, which shows you why it's impossible that Peter Goldie's lightning strike supposedly shows up in all 5 different photographs that are 4 to 6 seconds long. A lightning strike from beginning to end, tail to end, cannot exist in a second photograph and a third and a fourth and so on. It's impossible. It can't actually happen. This is another example, just to give you some variation. This is kind of a long stretching strike. It's one of the longest ones I have. And we can see from the initial flash, 1 frame, 2, 3, 5 frames, 6, 7, 8, 10. 10 frames, which is 1/3 of a second. That's the longest stretching lightning strike that I have. We are looking at some kind of advanced weapon. Definitely not a laser, because a laser would travel at the speed of light. It would be instantaneous. It's some kind of a munition. It's not a bullet, because bullets travel at 1,500 miles an hour. It's not the Stinger missile or the Sidewinder, because those missiles are traveling around Mach 3, and the space shuttle is doing Mach 18. So, if the space shuttle is doing Mach 18, the missile has to be doing at least Mach 19 or 20 to catch up to it in just a few seconds, and possibly, even twice as fast. So, we're looking at something that is off the charts. The only missile we have that can do Mach 18 or greater, slightly greater, is the Trident missile or the Minuteman missile, which are nuclear ICBMs. There's no way we're firing a nuclear missile at the space shuttle. That's ludicrous. And the incoming is coming from above, not down on the ground. So this thing is coming from outer space. So what could it actually be? Was the space shuttle shot down by extraterrestrials? Is there a war going on here, and why would they do it? Or is it a Star Wars test that went awry? There was an accident, and NASA didn't want us to know.
Since 8 a.m., no communications were received with Columbia, and no tracking data received through the Merritt Island tracking station. Those efforts made. The flight dynamics officer reports no objects tracked through that tracking data.